Food is fuel for your body, your mind, and definitely your sport. But let's face it, nutrition is confusing, and the expectations on girls and women to be thin and have a six-pack are exhausting. If you've ever been frustrated with your body, confused about nutrition, obsessed with eating healthy, or guilty when you don't, underate, overate, or overtrained, and overwhelmed with all the pressure, then this podcast is for you. Nutrition can be easy, you can take control of it, but it might start with letting go of control by asking for help and making a change. I'm Lindsey Elizabeth Cortes, sports dietitian and owner of Rise Up Nutrition, where I empower female athletes to overcome nutrition concerns and perform at their highest level, to stop being confused by all the mixed or harmful messages, and finally have confidence in your body as a fierce, fit, and fueled female athlete. Hey fans and listeners, it's Lindsey Elizabeth Cortes, your host of the podcast, registered dietitian, sports dietitian. I'm here today with Dr. Kate Mihevc Edwards. She's a running medicine physical therapist and orthopedic specialist. Kate actually is a repeat guest. She was on episode 73, How Running Nearly Killed Kate. And in that episode, she shared her near-death experience and later a diagnosis of a cardiac condition, which means that it's not safe for Kate to run, even though running was her sport, her passion, her identity. It was involved in her job as a physical therapist. And so in that episode, which I strongly encourage you to listen to, episode 73, we dive into her loss of identity as a runner and then how she learned to cope and amazingly still be, involved in the sport that she loves so much as a physical therapist. And we talked about her role as a physical therapist in treating athletes and all of that. So go listen to that episode. But today we've got some new content to share with you that Kate is super excited to talk about. Real quick, let me just tell you a little bit more about her. Dr. Kate Edwards is a highly accomplished physical therapist and board-certified orthopedic specialist with over 15 years of experience in sports medicine and orthopedics. As the founder of Precision Performance and Physical Therapy based in Atlanta, Georgia, and the creator of Fast Bananas RUNsource, a cutting-edge app designed specifically for runners, Kate has dedicated her career to optimizing performance, preventing injuries, and enhancing the biomechanics of runners at all levels, from beginners to Olympians. She is a published author and sought-after speaker. She blends the latest research with actionable insights to empower athletes to achieve their personal best while staying healthy and resilient. Kate, thank you so much for joining us once again on the Female Athlete Nutrition Podcast.
Thank you, Lindsey. That was all a mouthful. Every time I hear all that, I'm like, oh my God. But thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm an incredible person.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm really appreciative and I'm excited to get to talk with you again.
Yeah, and it's really great. I think our episode number 73 was back in 2022, and I really didn't know you much yet, but it was kind of like by having you on the podcast, we've been able to stay in touch and even collaborate a little bit on work throughout the years. So it's really cool because, we live in different states, and it's just so cool that through this podcast and connecting, that we can network, and hopefully our listeners too, whether it's from a professional network or just from a absorbing information and knowledge aspect. It's like, it doesn't matter if you live in Washington or Massachusetts, like here's an amazing physical therapist from Atlanta, Georgia that has so many different resources and ways to help you. So I'm just so appreciative of the relationship that we've built over the years and that we can kind of continue this conversation and have you back again.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You're somebody that I'll definitely text or email. We were talking about whatever way we reach out to each other. Text or email or send a note to whenever I have thoughts or questions around what you do, because I find you to be a really great resource. And even my patients, sending my patients to you, because luckily what you do is really awesome. You don't have to be in the same state that I'm in. So it's been great.
Yeah, amazing. So one of the biggest reasons that we wanted you back today is to share the amazing news with everybody about a brand new app that we mentioned in your bio called RUNsource. Let's back up a little bit. It kind of started with the founding of Fast Bananas,
Yes.
right? So you have your physical therapy clinic and then you have Fast Bananas. So tell us about Fast Bananas.
Yeah. So Fast Bananas so we've kind of transitioned to like naming it RUNsource because we were trying to figure out an easier way to call everything. But Fast Bananas is this idea. So I kind of have to back up too. I work with the Atlanta Track Club Elite. I helped them build their multidisciplinary team to help keep the athletes healthy and, help them so that with injury prevention, and then also if they get injured, kind of bringing them down this path of health and wellness and performance. And so from that, I was seeing how amazing it was and the results that we were getting with the team to work with this incredible multidisciplinary team: sports dietitian, sports psychologist, coach, director of high performance, PTs, MDs. I mean, it's really, really cool. And I started to think about that. And then also what I was doing in clinic. And with all of my runners that I was seeing, no matter what level they were at, a lot of the physical injuries that they get are related to other things, whether it's overtraining or nutrition or sleep habits. All of those things matter for runners. And I realized that most runners don't have the resources that they need all in one place from people who actually really, truly understand running. So everybody can talk about running, but it is definitely a niche, and you definitely want people who truly understand the sport to help you. And so Fast Bananas came from that, because it was this idea of, okay, we have all these amazing people. How can we bring them together to help a larger audience? And in a way that's not really expensive, because if you think about it, coming to see an out-of-network cash pay PT is expensive. And then we ask you, okay, now you need to see a sports dietitian, which is usually
out of network. Based. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, oh, hey, see a sports psychologist, also out of network. The bill is astronomical, right? And that's not realistic for so many people. And so I talked, and you were one of them. You're one of the experts on the app and Fast Bananas. I talked to everybody I knew and really believed in what they did, and all of kind of my network that I've built over the last 20 years of people that understand running. And I said, hey, would you guys be interested in sharing your knowledge? And I've been very lucky. I have over 45 people, and we're close to 50 now. They just haven't been announced, of people that work with runners and understand sports medicine from performance and injury that have come on the app onto Fast Bananas to share their knowledge.
That's amazing. Yeah. Again, the power of networking too, how we kind of started this, your repeat guests, how we've networked. That's like your ability to network as a professional is now creating something that can help hundreds and thousands of people because of bringing all these experts together. I totally agree with you. Funny enough, my insurance is through the military network, my husband's military, and I'm having a foot problem at the moment. And I finally got in with a physical therapist, and she was good, and I'm looking forward to our sessions. But it was interesting because I'm like, okay, I'm not an elite runner at this point, but it's so much a part of my life that even like trying to explain to her, she's doing these tests on me, and I'm like, no, it doesn't hurt like that. No, it doesn't hurt like that. Like, no, it's because I can't run. Like, that's the issue,
Yes.
And she gets it. She's a physical therapist, but she's very general and, treats a lot of issues. And it is difficult to sometimes I want somebody who really understands the importance of this in my life. And then also to do kind of that testing and evaluation through the lens of an athlete. And in my case, running, because it's like, okay, my walking's okay. That's not the point. Well, no, I'm not having pain going up the stairs.
Yeah.
But I can't run how I want to. And so that specific of having somebody with that, knowledge, understanding of the sport that you're involved in really can unlock a lot of the help that somebody needs in a position like that.
Well, that's right. And most people that don't understand running, that's what they're asking you, because if you don't run, you don't understand that it becomes part of who you are. And so for us, and we talked about this in the episode that we did previously, but for us, like me losing running was like you cutting off my leg. And so it just depends on the frame that you're coming from, right? And it really depends on who you are, what your experience is, what your identity is. And all of those things matter. And so when you're seeing somebody, if they're injured and they can do all the things except for running, it doesn't make it less, like it's still a really big deal, because it's how they function in the world. It's how they manage their stress. It's how they stay healthy. So absolutely. And all the people on the app and, in my clinic, we all really understand that. And so actually on the app, we have injury programs for runners. So we have a program for foot pain, like depending on what it is. Plantar fasciitis is one of the programs, and it's built. It has like a return to run screen on it. It has like, hey, this is what plantar fasciitis is. This is why it happens to runners. And then every week it has strength exercises. And then you get 5 videos, because I didn't want people to be overwhelmed, for the week, that are either from a sports dietitian, a sports psychologist to kind of give you tips on how to get through it. It might have meditation. It might have a yoga class specifically that'll help you like with the areas of your body that would help get your foot better. It might have...
I took one of those yoga classes when I logged on.
Hey, I'm so glad.
I did. Yes.
Those actually, it's been really cool because the yoga classes are taught specifically for runners again. And so, and they're short so that you can kind of do them and then just move on with your day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And
because that's the thing. It's like we're already spending so much time running. We know we need to do the cross training, the stretching, the mobility work, but so much time is spent running. We don't have all the time in the world. How could we do something in 10 minutes, 5 minutes that's impactful and makes a difference?
That's right. I'm actually filming with a new expert in a couple of weeks, a bunch more yoga classes that are specifically for runners. And we're even doing some for men, because a lot of times they don't necessarily want to do the same ones that we do. And I found that men, not always, this is so general, and I hope that I'm not going to get dinged on this, but like are stiffer. You know what I mean? Their bodies tend to be a little bit stiffer. And so we're doing some specific classes for them as well. And then, so we're filming some of that because we found that those are some of the really valuable classes on the app. We have some of our professional athletes are using it. And when they travel, they do it in the airport or they do it in their hotel room, which is exactly how I wanted it to be used.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm side tangent here. I'm trying to think of like is there a physiological reason why men might be more stiff?
Oh, there's different biomechanical things. And I think it's how they move, because biomechanically they move differently, like in different muscles fire depending on, than women's muscles. I don't know from like a really deep physiological level, but I suspect it has to do with how they move their body.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's obviously, you get a professional male dancer. He's going to be way more flexible than I am. I'm going to be way more stiff. So this is all, generalized, but I feel like there is some reasons there. But well, anyways, that was a little off topic. That's where my mind went.
And actually hormonally, because I do talk about the difference between men and women hormonally. I mean, there are a lot of differences. I actually do a whole lecture about the differences between men and women. So I don't know why I said that, but I mean, there are a lot of action.
Well, like I remember after going through 2 pregnancies, I know like postpartum, we have like the relaxin hormone, but aside from that time period of my life, I don't know the hormonal implications, but there is a female hormone that literally makes your joints more your body more flexible, more joints more mobile and things like that, which could be good or bad. It serves a purpose, but it could increase injury risk as well.
It could. And then also the way that how we modulate heat has to do with hormones, right? And so that's something, I mean, there's all different things that could impact it. But
But so all that going back to why there's actually a need for you to have on your app yoga class for men, just slightly different movements or a different approach to it even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, we also have meditations, like I said. So meditation is, and breath work. I have one athlete that uses that loves to do box breathing because she can't meditate, but it helps her calm down before she goes to bed. So she uses the box breathing on the app, and it takes just a handful of minutes, and she's able to kind of let her nervous system come down and then fall asleep and get good sleep for the night. So it's all these simple things that don't take a long time. And then it's a lot of information. Like I'm really calling the app like a knowledge hub and talking about it like having your performance and healthcare team in your pocket. Like if you have a question that's related to running and you don't want to search through Google or ChatGPT or whatever it is, and you really want to have this specific question, it's very likely that one of the experts on the platform has it. And if not, we will, I'm sure.
Right. So this is, I'm putting it all together. It's like, old school way of thinking is you're a runner. Here, download this meditation app. Here, go to this YouTube yoga channel. Here, go see your physical therapist for, that stuff. And that's great. We can continue to do that. Or here's an app where it's all here for you in the lens and like needs of a runner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that idea.
In one place. We even have, you gave us some recipes. There's recipes on there.
Oh.
Yeah, you did. And a few other dietitians, sports dietitians put recipes on there and tips about fueling. It's all there. It's actually shocking. Now that I look back, I'm like, how did I do that? How did I get all that information in one place? And I'm so grateful. Yes. And I just can't believe how many amazing people have committed to this project. When I first, you were like one of the first people that committed, and I was thinking like maybe only a handful of people will do it, but it's been great. And I'm onboarding like 4 new people this week. We had a new elite coach, actually the Atlanta Track Club coach, Tommy Nohilly. He just gave us did some videos. I came back from training camp yesterday. I was at altitude training camp.
Oh, fun.
It was really fun. And so I cornered him while we were there and had them do some videos for the app.
That's great. Hey, I'm working for you. You're working for me. Yes.
I was like, I've been trying to get him for a while. And I said, Tommy, come on. He's like, yes, I got this. We're good.
Yeah. That's amazing. And it's so funny because I'm like, oh, I gave you recipes I don't even remember. But I think also we'll highlight, though, that this has been a project in the making. And the only reason I forgot is because as you know, and some of my listeners know, I went through a lot personally the last 2 years. Yes. So if anything, I think, like you said, I committed to helping you with this project, and I probably submitted a bunch of things at first, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit with what I was going through. And that's why I'm here now, like, okay, update me. I downloaded the app. Like, where are we at? How can I contribute more if needed? And also just like getting the word out now, because this was a project in the making, and now it's here, it's released. So tell us, like, who should download it? Where can they download it? How do they use it in their everyday lives?
Yeah. So it's on Apple and Google Play. So you can get it either place. And if you're a runner, you should download it. That's it. It's because you can go on and say what kind of runner you are if you're looking for a program. So you can say, hey, I'm a middle school or high school athlete, or I'm a professional runner. And the content will be more tailored to you for programs because of that. Not everything yet, because that takes a lot of work and curation. But as we go, there are programs, for instance, like if you're a postpartum runner and you're an elite postpartum runner, you can get a whole return to running postpartum from week 0 to week 24 that's specific to an elite runner. Or you can say, you're an everyday runner and you're postpartum, and you can go in and get a program that's specific to an everyday athlete just trying to run.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you had it that specific.
Yeah. So, and it's getting, it'll be more specific the more content we get and as time goes on, but that's what we're trying to do, so that, because I really want every type of runner to be able to come here and get what they need. And so there's programs for middle school girls that talk about your period, or and like how you can harness the power of your period, or talk about low energy availability. So all of that is kind of in there, and I've curated it so that it's specific to each person. And any kind of runner can do it, and you don't have to be injured. Like, that's the other thing. So you can be injured and do one of these injury programs. So once you're not injured anymore, you can still use the app, because it has a ton of recovery and how to improve, how to get faster. What can we do to improve our performance? All of those things are on there, because I really, truly wanted it to be the one place runners could go for real information, good information that's going to keep them running forever.
Yes. Are there training plans on there?
So this is the thing. Like, I want to make sure that everyone knows what we aren't.
Okay. Yes.
Either. Yeah. So there are 3 training programs for new runners. Just if you're somebody that wants to start running, to do a 5K, a 10K, or a half marathon. So those programs, and the cool thing about those programs is they were written by one of the coaches that's on the platform. But those programs aren't just a running plan. They also teach you all the things, how not to get injured. So about overtraining, about picking out shoes, about fueling, all of those things are included in the program. But we aren't the kind of app like, look, there's so many amazing running apps out there that track you, that track what you're doing,
Right.
that show your runs. We don't do that because we don't need to. There's tons of programs out there that do that.
That's already out there.
This is the program that goes with all those other apps so that you can use that app and keep going, because you can't use Strava if you can't run.
Right. Yeah. So you have your training program, you're showing up doing the runs every day. Here's everything. Here's all the extra stuff you need with your taking care of your body, relaxation, PT, mobility, nutrition, sleep to support what you're doing with your coach, with your team, with your running program.
That's right. So, and it was funny because yesterday when I was at training camp, so when I go there, it's like a whirlwind. I slept late today because it's like I work every second I'm there. So I go and watch practice. I go watch them train so that I can see like their biomechanics, how they're moving. And then I treat everybody there. And it was funny because I treated one of the athletes that's new and I hadn't seen him yet. And I went to show him something. He said, "Oh yeah, I got that on your app." I said, "Oh, you're using it?"
That's great.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's great. But also, so he's a new athlete. And so that's also just like proof that, hey, he's not new to a sport, but new at the elite track club.
Yeah.
So it's like your app is getting out there, that people are starting their elite career, their professional career, maybe even their collegiate careers, like with the right resources in place from the start, which is very cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because that's the thing. If you want to run and you just want to run 3 miles a week. So one update from a few years ago is my cardiologist finally is letting me run like once a week for 2 to 2.5 miles.
Wow.
Which is for my mental health. And I have to run with somebody and it has to be slow. But to me, that was like the biggest gift.
I'm about to cry for you, Kate.
I know. It
was.
Yeah, it was the day I got to do it. I also, felt that way. I still feel that way. Like I'm tearing up right now just thinking about it. But this is a place you can go even if you run 2 miles a week, or if you're an elite athlete at the Olympic trials or going to the Olympics. I have an Olympian using it right now who hurt their Achilles tendon, and they don't have the resources with the team that they're on, which is shocking to me, even though they went to the Olympics. So the two of us were texting, and I said, just go to RUNsource, and she's using it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. I'm going to share a little bit personally too, of like, because maybe somebody listening to this will be like, this is why I need this app, because I need the app.
Me too.
So with my personal struggles over the past 2 years, when I came back postpartum, I slowly got back into running. And then once I was like good to run, it became, because I was dealing with a lot of stress in my life, it became such a source of like, running became my only personal time. It became my stress reliever. And it was a very the word I would describe is it was a cathartic experience. Like I needed my run, and I wasn't running every day because I didn't have the time for that with my life stress, but 3 days a week that I ran hard because it was this cathartic release of like all my emotions, all my stress. And it just like poured out on the pavement, poured out on the treadmill. And it made me feel great. Like after that was done, I was re-energized. I like got my stress, anger, resentment out, whatever. Well, 6 months later, my foot's acting up. Because I didn't take care of all the other things, right? I went so hard and I didn't take care of all the other things with the downtime for the stretching, or like deal with your stress in other beneficial ways, Lindsey, not just running, right? And so like I'm at a place now, as I'm, like I mentioned earlier in this call, starting to see a physical therapist, but it's like, okay, as I hopefully get back into running again, downloading this app, do the 5-minute exercise, cope with my stress in a different way so that I can so that running can be enjoyable. I mean, like it being cathartic is fine, but like you want it to be enjoyable and long lasting, right? So like I'm the perfect type of person that might need this. And I know so many people, I've met so many people that use running as a way to manage stress in their lives. And although it's generally speaking a healthy coping mechanism, we know there's a lot of other things we could be choosing that might be more dangerous or unhealthy, but it can injure you.
Yeah. And so I shared this with you before we started. I actually have a TED talk that I am giving in April, and it's called How to Have an Identity Crisis.
I love the title of that. I'm interested already.
So that's in April. But I
I'm thinking about all the directions this talk is going to go.
I know we're like all over the place, but I absolutely talk about what happens when running is the only thing you have.
Yes.
That manages your stress. And then what happens when you can't do it anymore? Like, what do? We don't know. We're not taught that. And so that's also part of the reason I made the app, is because I went through that. And so
you went through it. I'm going through it.
Yes. And we often do. Whether it's because we have an injury or that we can't run for a little while, or maybe it's a bigger deal like where I can't run almost ever.
Yeah.
It's like we go through it because it's the only outlet we have. So I laugh because I hated, by the way, meditation. Like I literally would be angry about thinking about having to meditate because I knew it would be good for me. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. But I made myself sit down day after day after day. And now I actually do it every day. I love it. But it's finding one thing outside of running that can help you besides running is really, really important. And it doesn't have to be meditation. It could be breath work, or it could be writing, or taking pictures with your camera, or it could be doing a yoga class. It could be anything. Nothing's going to compare to running. We all know that.
Yeah.
But
that's why we're our own breed. Runners just get nothing compares. But there's all these other things that we can try and explore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, running is, generally speaking, a decent coping mechanism, but we need something else as well.
Yeah. Even if it's just a little thing, like grabbing a book. I don't know, grabbing a book, but we do have to move our body. That's the one thing. Like when we get injured, even though you may have tools that are outside of running that aren't running, you also have to be able to move your body, because I think you can agree that as a runner, if I don't move, I feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah. So I just had another thought about, about your app and your resources. So, obviously you have that strong running background yourself personally, you work with elite runners. And so you created this app for runners because, as I just said, runners, we're our own breed. We need our own thing. Cool. However, I do work with a lot of athletes of all sports. And whether it's that they just maybe finish their college soccer career, or there's just certain sports that I think kind of as you age, I'm going to be honest, as you age, it's like, I was a pole vaulter. Like, I'm not an elite pole vaulter. It's hard to keep pole vaulting. So what do I do now? Right? Like basketball players, soccer players, like even weightlifters eventually, like, I feel like if you are an athlete at some point in your life, like you start running.
You do. You do.
I'm going to talk about my brother for a moment. Don't know if I've ever talked about him. He's a few years younger than me. I've got a family of runners, but he was a hockey player. Then he went to the Marines. He likes lifting weights. He likes being strong. And he signed up for his first marathon at the age of 28.
Good.
He's doing it now, right? It's like for years, we're like, come on, Mike, go for a run with us. He's like, nah. I'm like, there he is. Now he is. Now he's training, right? It happens. If you're an athlete at some point, it doesn't have to be a marathon, but like you're going to go out on a 20-minute run a couple times a week. You're going to sign up for a 5K. Because that's how I think accessible the sport is for athletes of all different sports. Like maybe aside from swimming, they're in the pool, but like so many people come back to running or pick up running.
Yeah.
I just actually started working with a new client who has a bodybuilding background. And then she's like, ran a marathon last year and wants to pursue that moving forward, even with a bodybuilding background. Okay. So all that long intro just to say, even if you don't identify as a runner,
right?
So many people come from different sports. You get into running. There's all these new like running related injuries. I don't know, maybe you as a physical therapist can shed light. Is it just because of like the mechanics of the repetitive forward motion? It's like if you're used to playing basketball, you do so many different like dynamic exercises. Your practice itself can involve like so many different movements and muscle groups. And you start running and suddenly you're just doing this one thing. And it creates some imbalances, some weaknesses. And that's why I feel, again, I'm happy to hear your insight, but that like there's these common runner injuries. So I can see this being valuable for somebody with a different sport background, that whether they're starting the running journey or even just like picking up the distance a little bit, even if they don't identify as a runner, they might want to be proactive to download this app and stay ahead of the common pitfalls that runners experience.
Well, that's actually what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to bring it to anybody who takes one step in front of the other, like honestly.
Yeah.
And even people who hate running, that are running for fitness, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
Because so think about it. You're in these other sports. You've done all these other sports for so long. And then what you do is you put on a pair of shoes and you go out the door. And that's your knowledge. So now you're asking people like your brother might be asking you for help, right? Or
No,
like,
that's not what brothers do. But
okay. Yeah, my husband doesn't really ask me or my brother either, actually. but they might be asking other people what to do. And then their knowledge is coming, I say it from run generation to the next instead of one gen, right? But
That's
that
cute.
knowledge is not usually right in every every way. And so this gives them a place to go and look and see what can they do to keep moving. And to keep running and going forward. I mean, this is a crazy statistic, and I wish I could tell you exactly where it's from. I said this on a podcast about 6 months ago, but over the last 40 years, we have had changes in technology. We've had changes in medicine. We've had changes in running shoes, all of the things, but we have not had change in the number of injured runners or athletes running out there. It's still like 80% of anybody who runs, again, whether they identify as a runner or not, gets injured. And so,
yes, I remember hearing that statistic from another one of our podcast guests. It's like within a 12-month period, 80% of runners are injured at some point in time. Like,
and it's because of that repetitive motion. So it is, like you said, like, is it biomechanics? What is it? So running is a repetitive sport. We're putting one foot in front of the other. We have a certain number of foot strikes over and over and over again. And so we have to be able to, our body has to be able to do that. And to do that, we have to be fueled properly. We have to make sure we're not exhausted all the time. And we often have to make sure that we're not doing too much too soon, right? So that could be just really running hard all the time, like what you were doing. That's too much too soon because you're just running hard and you're not giving your body recovery. Or maybe somebody's running 7 days a week because they're trying to do a certain streak, right? A lot of people are streakers. And so they like to run 7 days a week. And so, but they're not giving their body time. Maybe if they took one of those runs extra slow and they added strength training, then it might not be an issue, or making sure that they fuel appropriately after they run. So there are all these little things that running is one of those sports that you think you can put your shoes on and just go out the door, but eventually it catches up with you if you don't have the knowledge around all the other things to keep you safe.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I'm like, okay, other sports, there are repetitive injuries, right? Like, pitcher's elbow.
Elbow and shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, but most people don't just like, the everyday person doesn't just get that because we're not good at throwing, and who are we throwing it to, but the everyday person can just put on a pair of shoes and go run, and then do that again tomorrow, and then do that again the next day. So I think that that's contributing. There's other sports with those repetitive motion injuries, but you kind of only see that at like the higher levels. Right. And in runners, it's at all the levels because in a good way, but because of how accessible running is, that we just put on our shoes and we go, but then we do it so often without the proper resources, training, support, knowledge.
Right. And it's addictive. Like, honestly, it feels so good. Once you get over the hump, if you're a new runner and you haven't done it, you might not like it for a while, but you keep doing it. Once you get over that hump, it's easy to fall in love with the feeling, like the endorphins you get, the way your body feels, the way mentally you feel, because we know research shows that it impacts different parts of your brain in a positive way. So all those good things that happen with running can become very addictive. And then before you realize it, you don't even know that you're overtraining, because you're just enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah. Everybody needs to run. It
I
feels
know.
so good.
It feels so good. Just do it safely and with RunSource.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, so thank you so much for telling the world about RunSource. So again, you can download it just on your phone at Apple, Google Play. Is there anything else or is that
Not
it?
that I know. I mean, I'm sure there is, but those are the two places we
Samsung
are.
store. I don't know.
think
Yeah,
that uses Google.
it does.
Yeah.
I have an Android Samsung and I use Google.
Oh, good.
So that's where I downloaded it. Is there a subscription?
Oh, yes. So it is. I have to think about this for a second, what it is, because this is getting it out. This part of the job is very hard because you forget. You build something, you're so excited about it, you love it, and then you're like, wait, does it cost money? Yes, it has to cost money. So there are two.
Is all my work for the past few years, am I getting paid for that or no?
Oh my God, I don't know. So so there's two levels. There's a basic level and a premium, and the basic is $9.99 a month.
Okay.
And then the premium is $14.99, but you get a 2-week free trial. And both of them you can cancel at any time. So, and the difference between the basic and the premium, basic is you get access to almost all the videos and you kind of can go through it on your own. But the premium, you can pick a program and you don't have to be injured to pick a program. There's Get Faster, there's, recovery programs, all sorts of things. But with the premium, you pick a program and it's a little bit more tailored to you. And there are a few more videos there because they're specific with some of the programs.
Yeah. And we think about when it comes to healthcare, just generally speaking, there's reactionary healthcare. Oh my gosh, you're sick, you tore your ACL, you got to go to the doctor, you got to go see a surgeon, whatever. But there's also preventative. And this is one of those things. What does $10 a month preventative care do for you? And it could do quite a bit, honestly. And then let's say something still happens. One, you're probably in a better place than you would be had you not done a little bit of preventative care. But, injuries do happen.
Yep.
Life happens. But now you've got a resource, like maybe you reach out to one of the experts.
Yes.
That's on the app. There's 45, soon to be 50 people that, their contact information, and it's a trusted source. Yeah. It's not you just Googling random, and not knowing. It's like, hey, here's a trusted, established physical therapist and her team and network of people that have created all these resources for runners. Let me start there and see if one of them is a fit for that reactionary treatment.
Yeah, and that's actually part of what I wanted to do. So I'm actually glad you brought that up. Is every single expert on there has their own, expert page, and you can read all about what they do, and you can follow them, and you can reach out to them, and they're all over the country. Our experts are in 3 countries right now: Canada, UK, and the United States, and they're all across the United States. So it's likely that one of the experts is somewhere near where you live, unless you're not close to anything. But generally speaking, you could reach out to one of them, which is the secondary purpose of the app, was building the network of trusted people. Because you don't know who to go to when you're hurt, and you don't know who to trust. And like you said, many people will go to an orthopedic, which is great, and I'm so grateful for all that they do. But that orthopedic might say, well, just don't run. And that doesn't make any sense to us, because that's not the answer.
Absolutely. So. Definitely not the long-term answer.
Right. It might be sometimes, like if you have a stress fracture, we probably need to take a little break, but there are a lot of ways like you can get through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh. Okay. I'm so excited for where the app is now, what it's doing already. And also, as you mentioned, like a few other ideas and how it might be in the future as well. That's just so exciting. I'm grateful to be a part of it. And maybe since I'm getting back into work, we'll see if I can be more a part of it as it moves forward and grows. But we definitely want to encourage all our listeners, all our runners of all levels to go check out RunSource and make sure you're taking care of your not just physical body, but the mental side as well. Yeah. Sounds like this is just providing so many resources.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And as always, it's so good to talk to you.
Oh, and we'll have to make sure that we include in the show notes just your links and stuff, because you said you have a TED Talk coming out in the spring. So we'll be sure to I want people listening to this episode to follow Kate on her social accounts, go to her websites, things like that, because she's just an amazing resource for runners, physical therapy, and working through athletic identity as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kate.
No, thank you so much, Lindsey.
Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, I would truly appreciate if you could share this episode with a friend, give us a 5-star rating, or even leave a comment and a review. It really helps boost engagement and searchability and get episodes like this into the ears of people who will benefit from improving their nutrition and getting help. If you yourself are looking for more resources and help, you can head to riseupnutritionrun.com to learn about all my services and offerings. You can also find more resources at femaleathletenutritionpodcast.com, where we have all the resources surrounding this podcast. Both of those links are included in the show notes. There, you will also find ways to support this podcast. You can support the podcast with a financial contribution, link in the show notes and on the websites. And you can find ways to get in touch with me. If you are looking for help with your personal nutrition, you can head to my website and get in contact with me, and we can talk about applying for nutrition coaching help. Perhaps you are looking to be a guest on the podcast. You can head to femaleathletenutritionpodcast.com and submit a form to be a guest on this show or recommend somebody else. I also have discount codes and links to different products and companies and resources and free downloadable handouts within the websites that are always evolving and being updated, so please check them out. Many of these companies and products I do occasionally talk about on the show, but they're listed on the websites as their forever home that you can easily access when you're looking for help. Thank you so much for being a fan. Please reach out if you need help, and I'll see you in the next episode.